Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views Show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber. And today's guest we have with us, Ashley Burr of Carter Bank. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Diane. I appreciate you having me here.
I'm so excited for you. So today is a Meet the Ambassador, and Ashley is one of our newest ambassadors.
Yes, still learning what that means, but super excited to be a part of it.
Well, we're super excited to have you. And that is ever evolving. So you'll always be, I think, learning what it means. So we'll kick this off with, since it's one of our Meet the series, anything that you would like to share about who you are personally, anything about family or pets, or kind of how we came to be Ashley at Carter Bank and Ambassador of the Chamber.
Right. Well, okay, so let's see. I originally from Louisiana, but have been in North Carolina for, 30-something years, so quite a while. And so this is home. And I am a transplant from Raleigh. We initially moved to Raleigh and then came to Caswell County. So while I may not be in Rockingham County, I'm right next door. I'm the neighbor. And I've worked in Reidsville probably half the time that I've lived in this area. So I've worked in Eden or Reidsville, so always in Rockingham County, it seems. Keep getting pulled back here.
Well, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, we're happy to have you. And
thank you.
I have a long relationship with your employer, Carter Bank, just from I spent 7 years in Martinsville, Henry County, and knew Mr. Carter and have a long history with a lot of employees that worked there from the work I did there. So I always kind of have a fond place for the folks here because I know how that legacy came to be and the things that he did. And it's just, and it's crazy how much it's evolved over the years. So I started in Martinsville in 2004. So it's been,
well, just wait, because it's continuing to evolve, and it's super exciting to see how it has over the last year and what's to come over the next few years. It's great to be a part of that.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about all the things that are coming. But let's step back since we're doing a Meet the Ambassador series. And I know you have some wonderful things and some children and other things that you'd like to share with us. So tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, I have been in Caswell County for, like I said, about 20 years. And I have 3 children that have all grown and off doing their wonderful things. One's in the Army in Hungary right at the moment. And one is going back, actually just got a job at Reidsville Nissan. So I'm excited to have him working in the area too. So maybe I can talk him into a lunch every once in a while, try to keep in touch with him. And then one that is graduating from high school this year. So excited for the adventure that's ahead of her.
Oh, wow. Does she know what she's going to do yet? Is she looking to do post-education?
We're praying on that.
Or
We're
are we
praying
looking
on that right now.
Okay. Well, there's so many opportunities. And as you know from being involved, like the world is wide, and there is all sorts of paths that they can take. And
if you look at my employment history, it is kind of all over the board. I love going into a new industry, learning the mechanics of it, and seeing where I fit in and how I can make it better. And I think that's what brought me to Carter Bank. I'd been in retail sales for so long. We won't talk about how long, but then when I found out about Carter Bank, the opening there, and that it was here in Reidsville, it was like, this is God sent.
Well, that's amazing.
And I had no idea that this would be the path for me. And that just shows God opens doors for you when you least expect it. And just seeing how Carter values relationships with the community members, that's my passion. That's my passion, is a heart of service, a heart of hospitality. And that's always been, no matter what industry I go into, that's what my gravitational pull is, getting to know people, figuring out how I can help them along their journey. And in this case, it's their financial journey. So
that's amazing. It's funny. We have that in common. I don't know. And this is interesting. I'm getting to know a lot about you today just because we haven't been forced to sit down and actually talk.
Pretty busy.
Things. We are both pretty busy. My degree is in public health education, and that's how I ended up in Martinsville. I was working for a health and wellness organization and an ambassador for their chamber, and led a project, and it brought me to worksite wellness, which is what I was heavy in and having relationships with business and industry and nonprofits. And so that's how I ended up here at the chamber. And it is interesting how God will open doors for you and make things just kind of make a way.
Absolutely.
But having that heart of service, it's almost like I went from helping people with their health to helping people in the community and with their businesses and organizations. And it's just been a great transition. So I did not know about your retail history. Tell me a little bit about that and kind of how all that.
I spent, I managed my family's restaurant, the Yancey House restaurant, for 9 years. And then I could write my own schedule. I was the operations manager there and stay-at-home mom most of the time with my kids. And then once they all went to school, I'm like, oh gosh, I got to start working now. And so that's when I started with Food Lion, and I started as a cashier. And I'm like, God, I don't know if this is what you want me to do, but I'll take this step. And it was amazing how within a year and a half I was in management, and it was a huge blessing for 12 years. A lot of work, a lot of hard work, and I think I worked in Eden for a couple of years, Reidsville for several years, and then went to Greensboro. And I'm like, it's time for me to get closer to home because I do have my own business as well, and which is our homestead. We have all kinds of fun animals and everything, and I want to be able to devote some time to that too.
Absolutely. Well, I think you start reaching a point when you've been successful and you've done the hard work, and then you want to do something that's so fulfilling, but also just relaxing, right? And I think whether it's something to do with your children or something to do with animals or having your own business or all of the above,
Right.
It just makes such a difference, and it makes you so much more pleasant to be around, I would say, for myself, because that makes a difference.
So.
I like to think that's helpful. But also just like relaxing, but opens your mind up to all the possibilities and all the things. And from day one, I have seen your servant's heart because you've also joined our Reidsville Downtown Corporation Board, which is the Main Street program, which Carter Bank is a part of our downtown area. And so it's been really exciting to have fresh ideas, and I think you're already contributing really well there.
Well, I try. I'm learning. I wasn't familiar with the whole Main Street program, but it's pretty awesome that Reidsville has not just the local accreditation, but also national. And, boasting that is pretty awesome. Robin Yunt does so much work with that, and being a part of RDC to help with that is a great experience.
I don't think a lot of people know what the chamber does. A lot of people don't know what RDC does. And so anytime that I get the opportunity to just talk about things that are happening in the community, it makes me smile, because when I think back 15 years, like I have children that are now entering high school, entering middle school, and I've still got one at elementary, and they know more than a lot of the general public because they're like, oh,
they see what mama does.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The cutest thing was several years ago, they wanted to cut a ribbon. And so we had a whole little ribbon cut, and it was cute. But, it gave me an opportunity to explain to them that we're not just ribbon cuttings. And so they're starting to volunteer and starting to be present at events and realize that it's about the larger community, and we play our part in making our community successful.
Of course. It's about celebrating these businesses that are taking a chance to open in a new place, and celebrating and supporting them through that journey. And it's pretty cool how it's everything that I'm a part of right now is all aligning together. It's neat how it all works together with Carter Bank, with the business accounts and helping small businesses with their financial planning, and the RDC helping with small businesses and with the facade grants and going through those and just seeing what businesses are working on and how we can help them reach their goals with their construction. That's awesome stuff.
It is awesome stuff. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because I don't know that I would have thought to go there. But you and I were both in a lot of meetings recently where a lot of that was being discussed. And so I think this is a great opportunity. And one of my next guests is the city manager. And so maybe this will be something she and I can touch on too. But I don't think that people understand how all of that works. So while there may be some things that are changing, we can discuss maybe some basics. And one of the things that I think you were one of the ones learning about recently was how all that works. And so the chamber, as we own a building here, in our tax bill, we pay it too, but there's an extra charge that goes into what we call the MSD fund.
Okay.
And so that's where the grant money comes from. So a lot of people don't understand that they think as a myth, I'll myth bust here, that the city and the chamber, which we're not involved with it, but the city only helps downtown businesses, which is not true. There are programs and other things, but the downtown building owners in a certain district, there is a map of the MSD district, we pay an extra tax. And the city collects that tax every year, and then that money is there in the pot to do the very facade grants.
Right back to those people that are paying it.
Yep.
That's
so
awesome.
It's cool because we got one a couple years ago, and that's how people can see we did our awnings and the stucco work and things for our facade. But it's about preserving these buildings that have been here since the city was established 150 years ago. And so it's really about trying to make sure that the people get support and they get incentives.
And I didn't know that until our last meeting.
I know.
So that was very eye-opening, for sure.
It is. And it's hard. It's something that it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose, right? It's a lot of information coming at once. So even when we do that annual retreat in January, even the board members, the new ones, don't quite get all of that info. And then so serving on the committee like you are, you kind of got a little insight on how some of that stuff works, which is really awesome.
And whether it's the committees on the RDC or even with the chamber, I know when I first joined Ambassador, you're like, okay, sign up for certain committees. And I'm like, I want to sign up for all of them because I don't know what any of them are and I want to learn about them. Yeah. And being a part of marketing and retention and the expo, it's so cool to see firsthand knowledge of what's happening in our county, in our area, and being a part of the planning of that. I wish more people would take advantage of it.
Me too. And it's funny. I appreciate you saying that. I don't know if you've heard her yet, but every once in a while, one of our employees, Debbie Ellis, who is our outreach coordinator, she will say, I came here. She retired from the state, and she had been a long time ambassador, and I brought her on part-time in her retirement. And she said, I thought I knew what the chamber did, and I thought I knew how it worked. And she said, when I stepped into a staff role, she said, you just have no idea. Right. You don't realize all the things that are happening to make this stuff work.
Absolutely.
And it's a big deal. So the ambassadors and the board members too get that inside look. So speaking of all the things that we have going on, one of the things, as you mentioned, you're on the expo committee. And so that started out related to the fall Everything Expo, but we have introduced a new event this year, which is the She Means Business.
What?
Yes, the Women's Business and Industry Expo. And so that is coming up in a couple of weeks, and we are so excited. I checked registration this morning, and we are over 60. And
you have done worked your magic with that thing. You have got a great lineup of speakers. I'm just so excited.
It's crazy because people are already talking about next year and the event hasn't even happened. So
yes.
I have a lineup already for next year. I'm already thinking about what kind of panel topics and other stuff. But I just hope everybody takes advantage of this opportunity. Yes. I know there's been a lot of engagement on our social media about it. I'm excited to have all of our female ambassadors and board members and folks come and participate. And I just think it's going to be a really great day. We have a panel discussing, so let's talk about this topic for a second. And I think with what you're doing lines up. We have a panel talking about women in non-traditional roles. So in our county, we have a female district attorney. We have our first ever female city manager. We have a female Chamber of Commerce director. We have a female economic development director for the county. I mean, the list just goes on.
Stuff.
Yeah. Some powerful women doing some really powerful things and working together.
Absolutely.
I think, there's a lot of great women and a lot of great men and a lot of great young people, a lot of great seasoned people who do a lot of great things in our community. But I think there's something to be said for those women who have multiple children, who volunteer in multiple roles.
They know that juggling act.
Who have a full-time job but also own a business or a side business. we do know how to juggle and we do know how to get things done.
Well, one thing you said, it's not just about the women in power, the men, it's that working together, like you said. Whether it's working together on these committees or being a part of the chamber or the RDC or whatever it is, it's all about having someone to partner with to help you when either things get overwhelming or just to help celebrate, those wins.
You keep saying celebrate and celebrate wins, and it is just making my heart, I feel like, grow 2 times bigger every time you say it. One of my mentors in this realm, who is a chamber member, that's something he taught me really early on. He was like, we have to celebrate. We celebrate wins.
Everything.
And we celebrate everything. And so he was like, because we learn, right, from our mistakes. And he was like, we focus on what we need to be better. He was like, but you celebrate. You celebrate your wins, your people's wins. And so at the chamber,
Every
we
day.
do a lot of celebrating. We like to celebrate. It's a big part of what we do on our social media, which having this women's event has afforded me the opportunity to put up their headshots, their beautiful pictures.
Yeah, I read some of the bios.
I know, with their bios.
I was checking those out.
We have people coming from all over, like different, the school system, nonprofits. We have a 2-time breast cancer survivor. We have a very young cancer survivor. We have people who are coming to us from the business sector, from entrepreneur, from renovating a building, and just, the government sector. We just have covered it all. Right. And I could not be more excited. This was like something that was years in the making that I just finally said, we are doing this event. We kind of killed a sacred cow for this year. We put it on pause. We said, what are some things that we're doing that maybe have burnt out? Maybe it's time to move on. So we took a pause from an event that we normally have in the spring. Right. And then I said, we have this huge gap, or we're not getting together. We're not celebrating. Right. What are we going to do to celebrate? And I said, you know what? We're going to do some women in business stuff. And it just snowballed.
Well, that's how you know it's a good idea. If things fall together that easily, then it was meant to be.
You know what? I really do believe that. I believe that timing's everything. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I do believe that when it's right, it's right.
And how great is it that you're going to take all the great stuff that you learned from this event and apply it to the one in the fall?
So speaking of that, I don't think people realize, so one of the things that we're focused on, so if you're listening and you're a part of the chamber, we have changed the date and the day of the week, but we're not going to focus on the community coming because I'm going to use... I love to use his words. Our treasurer, J.R. Cecil, who owns Liberty Tax, I'm always repeating what he says, but I'll give him credit. He said, we're going to double down on what's working well. And what's working well is the B2B, and what's working well is the networking and the connecting and the relationships and the education. So we're going to double down on that, and we are going to use this model of the women's conference for the Everything Expo that's going to be on Wednesday, September 24th. I could not be more excited about that.
I think it's a recipe for success.
It's funny. You would not know this or know this person, but one of the reasons that I'm really excited is we moved our event to the penthouse last year. So we had it spread out over the carriage house and the greenhouse and the main house. Right. Miss Judy Yarborough, who passed away in December of 25, so she passed away in December of 23. And we miss her dearly. She had, I think 30 years in the city. She had a lot of years in the city. She did not get to see the finished carriage house before it opened. She was really close, and we had a ribbon cutting and a dedication for her later in 24. But we had that event there, and I knew she was smiling. But I know she's going to be smiling even more with this women's event because she was big on women in power. Her mother was in the military. She was just a go-getter and a powerhouse herself. But her vision was to have these conferences at the penthouse.
Well, you've got to recognize that at the event then.
I'm going to.
You've got to come up with something brilliant, as I'm sure you will.
I am, and I want to give credit. It'll probably be because the city is the facility sponsor. It will probably be when I recognize them. I'm just overjoyed at everybody getting behind this idea. I just cannot believe how much it's taken off and how much we're going to celebrate. And then the Everything Expo, like you said, our sponsors are on board again for this year. And they're really excited to see what we can come up with. So I've got to be thinking about what that looks like and coming up with some great breakout sessions and some mindset mastery and some, just great collaborations for that. And I'm sure this committee will. We've got to pitch that back.
Together, we're going to come up with something awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. So it's so exciting. And we're working on themes already, and we're going to have all that. In other really great news, and I'm sure Summer and I will continue to touch on this over the course of this summer, but the city has taken on the Fab Fest. And they are, the RDC has been doing that, and the city is going to kind of come back in as the big person leading that as the agency. And I think it is going to be phenomenal. I hear we are talking car show, we are talking touch a truck, we are talking stuff for the kids to do. More food vendors than last year. And I think all that stuff's already rolling in, right? Like Robin's working really hard. And I know the city admin team that they've created, a committee for that, is just kicking butt.
And I know RDC as well as Carter Bank still plans on being involved with that as well.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. I think we're going to have a really great, what is the word I'm looking for? A great list of vendors and events and things for people to do. So I think different but better of what we've done in the past. So that's exciting as well.
Speaking of exciting, I don't know if you noticed at Carter Bank that we have the new sign. Did you see that?
I did.
I know it's temporary. It's just a wraparound right now. But
so tell us about it. Tell us about the stuff that's coming, because that was actually my next question was, let's go back to, tell us about some of the stuff the bank's doing.
Well, as far as in the community, one thing I'm super excited about, I got in touch with Sharon Galloway through Chamber of Commerce, and we are partnering with the middle schools of Rockingham County and doing a financial literacy classes starting fall of next year. So we have curriculum for elementary through high school, which I know middle school seems like where we're going to start right now, and super excited about working with her and the team of administrators across the schools to get that financial literacy courses in place.
Well, I'm really excited about it because I'm very involved with the PTO at Rock Middle.
Okay.
And I have a kid coming into middle school, and I'm super behind this from the chamber because I used to be involved with the United Ways program in Martinsville, Henry County. And I know we already have a reality of money that is being done with the high school. So I'm excited that y'all are going to take on the middle school, and the chamber would love to help with that and volunteer and be a part. So
good.
Let us know.
And we're trying to figure out how to do all 4 schools and keep them all in the same program.
I think we can get some volunteers because we had the junior achievement program at one point, and there were volunteers going into the classroom, and I participated in that too. So I think we can help you and spread the word.
I would love that partnership.
Yeah, I think it will be awesome. So I just think it's important because the kids don't know how to manage money, what that even looks like, what a budget means. They see a card and you swipe it, and it's like money's magically there. And they do not understand checks and balances.
If only it worked that way.
Gosh, don't I know.
Well, that's a highlight of my job, is getting people that come in the bank that have no clue, that have no idea where to start, and just talking to them and figuring out where they're at. What is their goal in 5, 10 years or 20 years? Where do they want to be? And how can I lock arms with them and help them get there? Watch them through that journey and help guide them through that journey. So
it's so refreshing. It's sometimes hard to find that person at a financial institution because of the minutia of the day and how busy it gets. But we are really fortunate to have a lot of great people that people can reach out to. And you have just been a breath of fresh air to know that that is how you how you're embodying your new role there at the bank, and just trying to make sure that people are getting help. Because trust me, there's plenty of business to go around. I know all my folks in financial industries who are helping people, and of course they're all looking for new clients too, but they have plenty. So it's good to know that we have people that we can send folks to and that we can get them help, because this is a lot of times a business's first stop. And so we have those partners and those people that we can reach out to and say, well, you need to check in with so-and-so, or I would recommend you go see Ashley.
Well,
so,
I've appreciated the referrals that have been sent through many of the associates here.
Yeah.
So
it
means
Star
a
is
lot.
quick to tell everybody where to go and how to get there, and loves doing that. So, Well, we are almost out of time. Have we covered everything that you would want to mention for the
Probably
bank and for
not.
all your? Well, you have the
I
floor,
feel like I need
madam,
another
if you would like
hour,
to
if that's
encourage.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm just
sure,
kidding.
we could do it.
No, I think the important thing is just knowing that while you may see some changes, like I mentioned the sign, you're going to see more changes coming to our branch. And it's just a rebranding. We are still the same trusted financial institution that we've always been. We're actually celebrating 27 years on Main Street this month.
That's awesome.
That branch has been there for 27 years.
Yeah, tell people where to find you because that's the biggest
we're
thing.
at 305 South Main Street, right on the corner of Main and Settle. And you'll see a facelift coming soon. And next week on Wednesday, we're actually having a birthday celebration. So if you want to stop by, get a cupcake, hang out with me for a minute. But we have a lot of exciting things coming up with the Fab Fest, with the Expo, and of course the financial literacy courses and the projects we're doing through Chamber and RDC. It's just exciting to be a part of it.
Well, I'm so glad to have you, and I'm so glad you could come on the show today and to just share with us. And it's nice to put names and faces with institutions, and so I'm glad you were able to do that today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My
Well, thank you for
pleasure.
being an ambassador.
Diane, thank you.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful.
Well, I'm glad for you to be here. So, and we'll see you soon. I'm sure we'll do an update.
All right.
Okay,
Great.
awesome.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for today's show. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown at 140 South Scale Street, on our website at reidsvillechamber.org, and on our social media channels. So stay tuned. More from Team Reidsville.